Hannah, and today I'm here to talk about the movie Twisters. I don't know what the technical term for this is, because it's technically not a remake, because a remake would be like if you're rehashing the same story with the same characters, just with different actors, I would assume, and then a reboot to me is like if you're picking up where the story left off, you know, like in the same universe, and as far as we know, this does not take place in the same universe. Is it a requel? I don't know what the word technically is when it's like same idea, but all new characters, all new set, like stuff like that. But anyway, fun fact about me is, growing up, and I say growing up, but probably still nowadays, a lot of movies scared me. Even movies that aren't made to be scary scared me. Twister, actually, the original, was one of the few movies that I do remember watching and not being terrified of. Like, I just remember watching it and being like, this movie's cool, and not like, oh my gosh, I can never go outside again. I also love the cows. We Got Cows seen as iconic and probably formed a majority of what I find funny to this day. So I was really excited when they announced that they were going to make a new Twisters, like with their own spin on things, and I was even more excited when they announced the cast for it. Now, the main character in this, I would say, is definitely Daisy Edgar Jones as Kate. She obviously owns my whole heart, ever since Normal People, her and Paul Mescal, and like I love their whole friendship and everything that's continued to this day. But I haven't really seen her in anything since Normal People because all her other movies were just not what I was interested in, so I was really excited. So she's kind of like Bill Paxton's character in this, and that like he's the one that gets drawn back into Twister hunting. I don't know if that's the technical term, Twister, spotting, chasing, that's it. She's the one that gets pulled back into that, while Glen Powell's character is the one that kind of is already absorbed in it, a la Helen Hunt's character. The only difference is that they have no previous connection, whereas in the original, Helen Hunt's character and Bill Paxton's character were obviously previously married, and that's like what started the whole thing. Was he showed up with his girlfriend, which I must say, I know we're not talking about that movie, but bold move on your part to show up with your girlfriend and be like, I gotta get my ex-wife to sign our divorce papers, okay? Like, that's a whole other thing that we could get into. But Kate is like definitely like Bill Paxton's character because she's getting drawn back into twisting after getting out, and she also has this like sixth sense, almost like innateness about like when twisters are forming, like which way to follow them, and like is able to combine the scientific aspect of it, but also just like stuff she knows growing up about like which way the wind blows and stuff like that. And I just really loved her as a main character. I was shocked, I have to say, when I watched this movie to find out that it was not written, as far as I can tell, by a woman. I should probably double check that. I'm right, I'm correct. It's not written by a woman, it's not directed by a woman, because I could have sworn after watching this, like, all the autonomy and freedom they gave to Kate was just, it felt like something that you don't often get to see in male-directed movies. I feel like oftentimes stuff like this is just catered towards the male gaze, and I feel like, one, having Glen Powell in this movie, and especially having the iconic scene where he's, like, in a white shirt, in the rain, drenched, cowboy hat on, slowly wandering over. Like, I like disaster movies that are like, we're putting something in for the girls too. Like, I think Kate in general is just such a cool character. She stands on her own, and I feel like that's why I say like she's more the main character than Glen Powell. Like, I feel like his character, Tyler Owens, is definitely like a supporting character, and definitely like the secondary, like durotagonist, or there's some word like that that works, but I feel like she is definitely the main one because her whole journey is what takes the story and kind of what gives it its arc, because it starts out with her in grad school chasing this tornado because she has the idea, which I do have to say in the first one, I was even like, is this worth chasing a tornado? Like, I get that there's some science where they're like, we can detect them and help people, and I'm like, but is it worth, like, what you're putting yourselves through? So in this one, she has an idea to actually stop a tornado, which to me sounds way more interesting than being able to just, like, track a tornado and, like, figure out where it's gonna go. Especially in this one, a big thing was them saying how, like, these tornadoes are getting worse because of climate change, and, like, they're coming on so soon without warning. So her idea now is to be able to stop it, which is really cool and makes it so you're like, okay, I see why that is more, like, you're gonna get into the line of fire. Unfortunately, her first test in the field with her friends ends badly with 3 of them getting killed. And I have a special attachment to Kieran Shipka, so seeing her only in this movie for like 5 minutes and then get sucked away in a tornado was especially emotionally devastating for me. But, you know, what happens, happens. I also do have to mention that I saw this movie in 4D, and I've never seen a movie in 4D before. I've never really been interested in it, but like watching this, I was like, if ever a movie was made for 4D, it has to be this one. And that elevated the experience entirely. Oh my gosh. Like, you were whipping around, like not even in the tornado, but just like when they're driving from the tornado to in places really fast, you're whipping around, the wind's blowing in your face, like you really feel like immersed in it. So I like highly recommend, I think it's out of 4D now, but if you could just like, I don't know, get a sibling to like blow a fan in your face during the tornado parts, like I really think that enhances the experience. Kate gives up tornado wrangling, whatever you want to call it, after that happens for obvious reasons. Like, she literally saw her boyfriend and her friends sucked into a tornado in front of her and was the only one surviving. The one friend that did make it, Javier, who is, all I know him from is Hamilton and from cheating on his fiance, so everyone kind of hates him now. He's now this like big shot engineer kind of guy and has this project that they're trying to do where they can x-ray a tornado from 3 sides to get like the scope of what it's gonna look like and see how they can best like deal with that then. So she decides that she'll go there for a week and help him out and kind of dip her toe back in but not get fully back in, again for obvious reasons because of what happened to her. Like, I mean, even Javier being like, you gotta come back, I'm like, you weren't there. Like, yeah, he was there and he lost his friends too, but you weren't the one that was like the only one not sucked into a tornado while all your friends were. Like, listen, Javier didn't annoy me in the movie. Like, I thought he was fine, but it was just very funny how online everyone was ragging on him because, again, they hate the guy because he cheated on his fiance. And just, like, in this, it was very clear that, like, he, I think, liked Kate. Like, at the end, when they're pulling her out of the truck and Tyler runs over to her and she's like, what, how did it work? And he's like, you did it, Kate, you did it. And it's, like, this big moment. And then she, like, looks over at Javier and he's like, you did it. And I'm like, yeah, we just heard Tyler say that, buddy. Get a new line. But yeah, I just love her as a character. I love that even when Tyler, like, has this immediate attraction to her, you can tell that, like, what makes him fall more and more for her is, like, her personality and her brain. Like, he's amazed by how smart she is, and he's not intimidated by that at all. Like, he wants to work with her. He never tries to, like, take credit or anything. I also am always so impressed when there's a movie like this and there's not, like, a gratuitous shot of the main girl in, like, a bikini or a bra for no reason, like, changing, which, like, the bar is so low, but it's so true. Like, I feel like her outfits, and this also was with Helen Hunt in the original, I remember this, were very on par, I feel like, for what you'd be wearing in that situation, so I appreciate that they didn't, like, try and, like, pander to the male gaze, but I think they pander to the female gaze with, like, Glen Powell in the rain and soaking wet, but, you know. So yeah, I just really loved Kate, and by extension, I loved Tyler with the respect that he treated her with. I love, too, Tyler's Storm Team. Like, I like how the uppity, smart, like, Yale, MIT guys were looking down on them as, like, lesser, and, like, they're just coming in to, like, sweep in a disaster and sell t-shirts and stuff like that. But then you find out that, like, no, it's actually their team, the Storm part, that's, like, using the disaster to, like, get money from people. I really appreciated that none of them died, because I was really attached to all of them, and I just felt like someone's gonna have to die because it's a disaster movie, and literally every single one of them I loved, okay? Like, I could not have parted with any of them. Like, when Lily, like, almost got sucked out of the movie theater at the end, I was stressed. I was, like, just waiting for the scene where, like, it rips her out and he's like, no, and he couldn't do it. But they all survived, and I was really happy. I think it was, they didn't have, like, a big presence, but their presence that they did have, you could just tell that they had such great chemistry, the actors, and that translated as them being, like, a really close-knit family on screen. Like, I think the scene that really, like, cemented it for me, which obviously was supposed to, but I feel like it definitely did for me more so, was when Lily ran over to Kate after the tornado that had touched down in the town and, like, offered her food and water. And she's like, no, like, I don't need it, like, save it for people who do. And she's like, well, at least take water. Like, it was just sweet how they're, like, always looking out for each other, and it's a good message about, like, not always judging appearances, right? Because they come in loud, right? Like, cowboy. I mean, Glen Powell's entrance in this was, like, movie star making. Like, when the truck rolls up and the country music's blaring and he just, like, gets out of the truck and is like, hey, everyone. Like, he just has such natural charisma. And I feel like in real life, I don't trust it because he's too charismatic that I feel like you never know what's real and what's not. But in a movie, the guy's got great charisma. You know what I mean? So I just feel like that was really great. And it was nice to see that, like, they're so sure of themselves. And I feel like that's what Kate needed, was, like, it's not that they don't take it seriously because they are, like, tornado wrangling, but they trust each other implicitly and they know that they won't none of them will put each other in a bad situation on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they just take it so, lighting fireworks into a tornado, I do wonder the necessity of that, but it is fun, so can I really blame them, you know? But I just really, really loved it. This year in general hasn't been a big movie year for me. I just feel like there weren't as many that I was looking forward to this year as last year, and Twisters was probably one of my top ones, so for it to be as good, even better than I was expecting it to be, was really, really great. The action scenes, like, again, the 4D really added to it, because I'm twisting and turning as this is happening, but, like, them chasing the tornado with, like, the, I don't even know what it was, but, like, the plant that was like all the fire and stuff was happening, that was insane. And then I really also liked the pool scene when like you saw kind of the difference between like, you know, like they think about the cost of lives. Like Kate and Tyler were like trying to get people to safety, trying to get people to listen to them any way they could, and didn't worry so much about like what looks cool. Like it wasn't like running to be like, oh, like let's get this or let's get that. It's like, no, we're gonna help people. And I really think that helped bond them, and I think the action scenes were just amazing. Yeah, like it really, like I knew they were gonna be okay because they're the main characters, and I was still stressed out from it, like just watching it all and watching them like be almost sucked away. It was stressful, and I think no surprise because she's a great actress, but Daisy did an amazing job with portraying Kate's trauma, and there's physical and mental scars from it, and I think it's not as easy to just be like, well, just get back out there, you know? Like, there's a lot that happens, and I feel like she did a good job of, like, that's what I mean, like, her story and her arc is really the anchor of it. And what I really have to say I loved was Kate getting to do it on her own at the end, being the one to take the truck and set off the, I don't know, science things, but the things that were going to stop the tornado. I love that she ran off on her own, and, like, she got to do that on her own because I feel like that was really the culmination of her arc, and I think it would make sense too that she'd want to do that on her own, right? She wouldn't want to risk, like she's like, I'm not risking anyone else. I did like that it was her, you know, doing it on her own. It wasn't Tyler helping her in the moment. It wasn't Javier. Like they were out and helping and saving people themselves, and she was doing that, and I just felt like it was a great homage to the end of it of being like, you know, that is who she is at the end of the day. Like she's gonna get in there and do as much as she can. I also love that her mom was like, not for like, obviously she's like, be safe, but she wasn't like, she's like, I know that this is in your blood, and you not doing it is like hiding your true purpose from the world and from yourself, and like you're never going to be really fulfilled by that. So I just think it was like, it surprised me in so many ways. And Kate's characterization, how it wasn't afraid to make Tyler like a secondary character at times, the mom being way more supportive of like tornado twisting and all that, and even Javier's arc of, I feel like it was more obvious of him having to be like, actually it's bad that we're just swooping in and selling, like taking people's money. But I also really did like when he came, if I wasn't cheering when he came in, when they were like trying to get the thing off Tyler, and she's like, I'm not leaving you, I can't do it. And then the beam slides in, and I'm like, Javi, yes! Like, that's the thing. It was like this movie just had you cheering and hollering and hooting. Like, I was on the edge of my seat, except not really because I'd slide off of it in 4D if I did that. But like, it was stressful, even though like normally I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? Like, what's the worst that can happen? But like, I was invested in these characters. I cared about the plot. Like, it really is just like a great summer movie, and I'm gonna go see it again. I already have plans to go see it again. So I just was really pleasantly surprised by it. I think the chemistry between the two leads, obviously, the fact that they cut the kiss, devastating, honestly, okay? Like, was it necessary? No. But I just feel like it would have worked so much better with the end of her being like, hey, like, if you're afraid, chase it, and then him deciding to go and chase after her. I just feel like a kiss would have, like, cemented that all wonderfully. So I'm a little peeved that they cut that out, but the movie itself was so good that I can let it slide. So yeah, if you have seen Twisters, please let me know what you thought about it down below in the comments. If it was as good as you were hoping, better like I thought, or if you're just there to see Glen Powell in a wet t-shirt, because I can't blame you for that. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!